I am Tim. Welcome to my stream, my channel. Gonna be knocking out bicep curls today because it's Monday, and that's what I do on Monday. I start my week off with my favorite and put my least favorite right in the middle, which is leg day on Wednesday. But today is biceps. Just a quick intro. This is a stream of my workouts. I'm doing a body transformation this year. The goal of this transformation is to see just how well I can do without taking any supplements. So I've not been taking any supplements all year. That's no protein mixes, no protein powders, no creatine, no BCAs, no pre-workouts, nothing extra. Just trying to get all my nutrients from the food that I eat and see how it goes. I'm not opposed to supplements. I think they work, they work great. I've taken them in the pardon me. I've taken them in the past and they do their job, but I just don't know if it's absolutely necessary for me to take a bunch of supplements to hit my current goals. So just seeing how it goes. Um, so let's jump into it. Gonna warm up with some bicep curls. Pretty basic. Gonna warm up with 10 pounds. So we're headed into the winter months if you live in the USA. And I gotta tell you, this is the time where it's the easiest, obviously, to put on weight. And I like to challenge myself going into winter to not put on weight. Um, and obviously, like this winter, I'm gonna be still trying to lose weight for this body transformation. But if I wasn't, my goal the last couple of years has been just don't gain weight. If you can just get your weight down in the summer and then just maintain it through the winter, like October, November, December, and then January, February, till we get back to spring. Just don't gain weight. And it's not easy. It can be hard, but it's not like you're gonna kill yourself. Like if your goal is just stay where you are. Indulge in Christmas, indulge in Thanksgiving, have fun, but don't gain weight. That's the goal. And then I'll make it easier when you're trying to lose weight to get that summer body back and impress whoever it is in your life you feel like impressing. But it's a lot easier if you can just keep off the weight during the holidays. 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, I was still cutting weight in the holidays, which is what I'm going to be doing this year. Not as bad. I just want to lose 5 pounds. Um, Goal is to lose 5 pounds in November and December combined. All right, still warming up. I'm gonna move to 20 pounds. We'll make sure that we take plenty of time to warm up. Man, I'm a little weary of my back. It's really annoying. Like last Tuesday, I was cleaning up my living room and I picked up a magnet tile and my back like gave me this twinge that I was thinking about going out, and thankfully it was able to be chill from that. But the same thing today, I was picking something up and it gave me that same twinge, and I don't know why it's gotta be so irritated lately, but I need it to not go out on me. It could just stay true for another 3 months. January. Once go out in January, I won't be as frustrated. Man, I'm excited. It's supposed to be hot this week, and the beach is supposed to be hot. This might be like one of the last weeks the beach is hot, so I'm excited to be. I'm excited for it. I thought it was going to be cold. Normally it'd be pretty cold by now, being that we're about to go into October, but still hot, so it's gonna be fun. I love going to the beach with my kids. I'm gonna try to get there really early before the tide starts coming in. I want to build like a massive, long, like river for the kids to play in this time. It's gonna be fun. And that's the 35 pounds, 13.6 kilograms. And I'm getting tired of like this cold, another cold virus that's like lasting forever. This is like week 3, but dangling on. It seems like every time we get colds lately, they last longer. It's really obnoxious. That or I'm more conscious of it. I don't know. I'm just glad my kids have reached a point where they're consistently good about being able to blow their nose. when they're babies, you have to take like a tube and like suck the mucus out. They have like the squeezy ball, but the squeezy ball doesn't work as good. But you know, you just put the tube there and just suck snot out of your child. It's a awesome part of parenting experience. And it's annoying because they don't like it because it doesn't feel good. So they like fight you. So you're like having to hold this tube to their nose, making sure that you don't jam it in while you're trying to suck it out. It's a whole event. Man, it's so annoying. That's not what I wanted to do today. It's a lot less than last week. It's annoying. Give me 1 second. Oh man, I'm gonna be doing some yard work today. Gonna be getting my front yard cleaned up real fast so I can put up all my Halloween decorations. Super excited about that. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty easy because 90% of our decorations are the blow up ones. So you just kind of throw them out there and plug them in. The rest are a little bit more complicated. Man, I don't know why I'm not doing as well today. I don't really have any good reasons for not being able to hit it as hard. Slept pretty good last night. Ate good today. Should be going better. I'm excited. Like my decorations are more festive. Like they're not super scary. I think it's super scary that I put out because of my kids. When they're older, I'll do more like scary decorations. These are all like fun ones. It looks good though. I like it. But I can't wait till they're older and I can do some real scary stuff. That's gonna be fun. I showed one of my kids the old Disney Headless Horseman one, Ichabod and Crane and Sleepy Hollow, and they liked it. They wanted to watch it twice, and then they had a night of bad dreams. And after the second bad dream, I was holding them, and they looked at me and they said, "I don't think I'm quite old enough yet for the Headless Horseman Maybe I'll watch it again when I'm older, but I don't think I'm ready for it. Okay, fair. Good. Sorry. Sorry for the bad night. That's the downside if you show them something scary, because they're gonna end up in your bed. And it's not so bad. The hard part is now that they're bigger, like it's definitely an imposition to have both of them in the bed. So I have to like time it out. I end up with one in their bed, and then the other one wakes up and comes in, then I have to go sleep with that one. And none of my kids' beds are as comfortable as my bed, so that's not my favorite. My one kid's bed, I always wake up and it was like a pain in here. They don't seem to mind their beds. They're considerably smaller than me, so I assume that helps. Oh, all right, that's bad. That's it. 5. All right, I'm gonna go down to 30 pounds. We got a lot to get done this week. A lot of chores. And I will get them done. My backyard is a wreck right now. I need to clean it up and make it look better. I was supposed to do more yesterday, but my my wife wanted some stuff out from underneath the sink, in our bathroom under her sink, and I pulled out some stuff, and there was a plastic container that was just filled with water, and it turned out that like the sink had been leaking, and we just didn't realize it, so I had to like fix that. Unfortunately, it was a pretty easy fix. Like it wasn't hard. I think that I think something got bumped, and that's why it was like leaking from shoving too much crap underneath the sink. But that was a whole thing, and then I had to dry it out and make sure that nothing was going to mold. All right, I'm gonna tell you guys a story real fast. So I felt really stupid yesterday. I had to go to the liquor store to buy butter because we were out of butter, and I just got this like wild hair to buy a scratcher. So I looked at a scratcher. I thought, oh, I'll just grab Lucky 13, and it was just a $5 poker scratcher. So I scratched like the bonus spot and said all my wins were gonna be 5 times. So I scratched the dealer's cards, and they had a they had a flush. And sometimes I play poker, I get the what's what confused. So I looked at the back, then I started scratching, and when I looked at the list on the back, I was thinking that the way I would write it is the worst card hands would be at the top, and the best would be at the bottom. So I scratched the next thing, and I came up with three of a kind. And I checked the list, and three of a kind is better than flush. I was like, cool. What's the prize? It's $500. I was like, awesome. I got $2,500, and I was stoked. That was like the most I'd ever won on a scratcher. Then I scratched the next one, and it's a straight. And I look, I'm like, oh, cool, a straight, and it's below the flush. And I was like, awesome. So then I scratched the prize, and it's $5,000. Now I'm stoked. I'm like $25,000, and I'm just absolutely excited. And I'm driving home, and I look at the back, and that's when I realized like I had it wrong, and I felt so stupid. I knew it too. Like I knew in the back of my mind that that I was looking at it wrong, or that there's no way three of kind beats a flush. But I just got caught up in the moment, and then it all came crashing down. Didn't win anything. But I'll tell you, that moment I thought I won $25,000 felt really good. I was on cloud nine. If I ever win $25,000, that's pretty exciting amount of money to win. Especially going into holidays. That would have been a really nice Christmas. Oh well. Most I ever won on a scratcher was my wife won like 500 something off of one once. That was the biggest one I've seen. I've won a couple that were like over 100 in my life, but never $25,000. I think the most I've ever won gambling was like $1,400 jackpot. It was a Wells of Cash machine. It's pretty funny because I was playing this Wells of Cash, and I went to the bathroom, and the guy in the urinal next to me was drunk, and I accidentally peed on my shoe. And I thought, like, man, I could be angry at this guy and knock him down or say something, but he's drunk, and he apologized. Just let it go. Be nice. Someday I'm sure I'll be drunk and accidentally pee on someone's shoe. It's possible. So it was really nice about it. Walked back out and sat down, and like within 2 spins, hit the $1,400 in a bonus. And I was like, that's cool. Like, I wonder if it was just the luckiest pee ever. I never tried that theory. It's not like a thing I've started doing, going and standing next to people who get peed on in order to win jackpots. But you know, maybe if I'd gotten rude or something, I wouldn't have gone back to my machine and wouldn't have won. At the very least, it all worked out at one time. What's up, big tinies? What's up, man? Oh, I was thinking about you the other day about like trolling and stuff. I had this guy on YouTube make like two like negative comments last Monday on my video, and one was that I didn't have aesthetic, and the other one was just you're unfit. I thought I was like, that's funny, man. Like that's yes, like that's the whole point of the working out is that I do see myself as unfit, and I do see how I could look better. So yeah, dude, you're hitting the nail, right on the head. You're not going to hurt my feelings by saying something that I obviously see in myself. You're gonna crack me up. Like, you're very much stating the obvious, sir. uh, who has energy to just be mean like that? This tidy whitey. I don't know, man. I don't know his situation. I mean, I was looking at his name, and if he's not in the U.S. watching YouTube, I think he may have been from India. I couldn't tell, but maybe he's just like I really can't stand Americans. I'm just gonna go on YouTube and badmouth Americans. I mean, it seems possible. I get it. If you actually had like a hard life and were, you know, on YouTube watching Americans, I think there's possibility of like being bitter and wanting to lash out. But I don't know. That's the funniest part about YouTube and Twitch and the internet is you have, people that are affluent on there by the world standards. Like I'm not rich by American standards, but I'm definitely rich and well off by a good portion of the world standards. And if you're living in India watching me, I could definitely see like being very frustrated, like and just lashing out. That was my one kid I looked at, one kid that said something rude one time. I went ahead and looked at his YouTube channel, and he was just this like very chubby, either junior higher or like freshman age kid, and clearly had some like self confidence issues. I was like, oh, buddy, like I didn't say anything mean to him. I went on one of his videos and said something nice about his video, trying to, you know, help him get past his need to lash out. But some people just have issues. I always imagine that people have like I self reflect, so I know where my where my faults lie. I don't I don't try not to lie to myself and make up a version of myself. I like take me as I am. And I had a friend that was older than me. He was like a roommate, and he had a very prominent nose. And I assumed that he was aware that he had a prominent nose. Anyway, he says, I'm here for a simple, lighthearted troll. Nothing more, nothing less. That's good, man. I like teasing. I like jokes. I don't mind being the butt of a joke. Doesn't bother me. But so my roommate, he had a big nose. And I assumed that somebody in his life, because he was like 34, I was only like 26 at the time. But I assumed that somewhere along the line, somebody would have mentioned to him that he would have known he had a big nose. And so I was talking about like being short and how that being a point where people would like make fun of me when I was younger. And I was like, it probably like the same way people made fun of your nose. And he's like, what? I was like, like I'm sure kids made fun of your nose. He's like, what's wrong with my nose? And I was like, nothing's wrong with your nose. It's just a bigger nose. He's like, I have a big nose. And I was like, well, I mean, yeah. Like, no one's ever said you had a big nose before. And he was like, no one's ever said I had a big nose. I didn't know I had a big nose. And I felt really bad. I just assumed he knew he had a big nose. And it was a big nose. Like it wasn't like dumb of me to assume. I mean, it would be like if I had a big mole like on my forehead, you would assume that somebody at some time would have made fun of or pointed out the fact that I had a mole on my forehead. It wouldn't be like you say something about, oh, you got that mole on your forehead. And I'd be like, what? There's a mole on my forehead? I don't know how he didn't know. He was a really tall guy, so it may have been that people just didn't tell him. I don't know. But I felt really bad that at 34 years old, I was the guy that was telling him he had a big nose. Everybody says LOL. Now, what are you gonna do? So, to be fair, he also so there was this we did IHSS. We took care of this autistic guy. He didn't live with us. I would go do overnights though at this guy's apartment. And that was my job, like to make sure he was safe throughout the night. So I could sleep, but if he woke up, I had to be awake, which was fine because if he was awake, I made more money. So any hour he was awake, I would make more money than if he was asleep. So he, I was sitting in the office, which is also our bedroom, the staff bedroom, and I saw him out of the corner of my eye walk down the hallway. And then I sat up and looked, and I could tell that he was in the kitchen because he kept standing in front of the microwave for a minute and then would move over to the sink. And it was kind of like pacing. So I get up and I go and I turn on the light, and he's not in there. And I look around the living room, he's not out there. So then I go back and I look in his bedroom, and he is completely 100% asleep, just completely passed out. And I was like, that's crazy. So I told my roommate, like I called him because it was like, it was only like 9 o'clock at night or something. And I was like, hey, dude, I think this like apartment's got a ghost in it. And I told him what I saw, and at the time I thought he was just like, oh, okay, cool. And like, he was very nonchalant about it, but I was like, all right, whatever. So then I went back to sleep, and like a couple months went by, and he calls me up, and he's like, hey, man, I owe you an apology. And I was like, for what? He's like, well, when you called me about that ghost, like, I'm, I'm 34. I've never seen a ghost in my life. I don't believe in ghosts. And when you told me, I was with my girlfriend, and we made fun of you like all night. Like we were just making fun of you. You've been kind of a joke that I've been like making fun of you this whole time. And I was like, but I'm telling you, I'm sitting here in the office, and I saw what I thought was him walk down the hall. I heard him in the kitchen. I got up to go check on him, and there was no one there. He's like, I've never seen a ghost before. This is the first time I've seen a ghost. And I was like, all right. So, you know, at least I was making fun of him. I wasn't really making fun of him, but he was making a joke out of me. So I feel equal in that. Honestly, I was shocked that he made it to 34 years old, never having seen a ghost. I grew up always like seeing things. My wife too. My wife grew up in a haunted house. She she lived in this house, and one time when she was a kid, they had all these like um, those kind of like drama masks, like the porcelain masks, like all over this one wall in her house. And she was home alone, and she left the kitchen for a minute. And when she came back in, all of them had been like flipped around, and scared the crap out of her. And there were some other like scary things that happened in that house. The last straw was her mom, my mother-in-law, was cleaning the garbage disposal and had unplugged it. And right when she was going to reach her hand on in, it turned on by itself without being plugged in. So that was the last straw for them in that house. Ghosts are fun, right? Nothing like a little jump scare with the garbage disposal. That really drives the message home that maybe they don't want you in that house. What are your thoughts on ghosts, Whitey Tidy? Whitey Tidy says, I welcome ghosts, but have not had any experiences with them. Nice. I always had this like idea of a story where, not just a story, but just a thought, like, what if we do see ghosts on a regular basis, but normally they just look human, and they're just all around, like the guy sitting on the bus bench, the guy riding the subway could be a ghost, and you just don't know, and nobody interacts with them. So we see them all the time, but aren't aware that they're there. Fair point. No experience that I'm aware of. No experience that you're aware of. Well, that's good. When I was a kid, we used to go to like different missions in California. Those are the missions that like the Spanish built here, and I go to them all the time. And then we went to this one, San Miguel, and it gave me the creepiest feeling when I was there. Like I just felt really uncomfortable the whole time, and eventually, like it was like the next summer, I was going on a road trip with some cousins, and my cousin had this like book of haunted places in America, and San Miguel was in there. There had been a massacre there. After it was a California mission, it was owned by a guy that was using it as an inn, and he bragged to some of the guys that were staying at the inn that he knew where the Spanish hid a bunch of gold. He didn't know that were part of this group of bandits, and so they came back and massacred everyone in the inn with axes, trying to get him to tell them where the gold was. And since there was no gold, he couldn't tell them. But um, people had talked about like seeing ghosts at San Miguel, and I'd never heard that story prior to that. So White Tie says could have experienced a ghost and just not realize it. Yeah, possible. But that was interesting. I went back to that mission like a couple of years after that and talked to the lady that worked there, and she's like, I've worked here for a long time. People say they see stuff. I've never seen anything. She said the closest she ever saw anything though was her granddaughter was visiting, and she couldn't find her granddaughter, and she kept calling, and eventually her granddaughter came to her, and she's like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I was talking to the little Indian boy. I was playing with him, and he was hiding underneath the bed in the kitchen and wouldn't come out. And it turns out that one of the kids that were massacred, there was a little Indian boy. So the grandma thinks that her daughter may have seen that, or granddaughter, but doesn't know for sure. Whiteside says, if I ever do have a ghost experience, I hope is pleasant and not traumatizing, scary. Yeah, a nice ghost experience could be fun. Maybe like someone famous that you've always wanted to meet shows up. That could be good. in the back when everybody was talking about zombie apocalypses more and everybody had their zombie escape plans, I had one idea where if I was in a zombie world and I didn't have like my wife and kids with me and was just like isolated by myself, I thought it'd be fun to go and collect zombie celebrities and just have like a traveling circus of zombie celebrities, just go from like town to town and be like, look, this is Brad Pitt and George Clooney, and there's Marilyn Manson as a zombie. He looks almost normal now. Yeah. So that was my vision of what to do. I also had a zombie plan, which somebody used in something, but I always thought it'd be fun to set up a rope swing at the edge of the Grand Canyon and then just go get like a giant horde of zombies to chase you off the edge of the canyon, and then you just jump onto the rope swing and swing the safety as they just watch them to pile off the edge. No nightmares, please. I had a friend that had a few ghost encounters at his work. He worked at this country club in SoCal, and I won't get into all the details because it's long stories, but one was there was like a ghost that haunted the locker room, and it was like an older ghost. And the way he found out about it was his name was Dave, and one of the nights he was working down there, somebody kept calling David down there, and he called to the guard shack and was like, "Hey, are you guys trying to find me down here? Because someone keeps calling out David." And the guy's like, "No." He's like, "Just tell you what, just ignore it. When you get back to the guard shack, I'll explain it to you." He's like, "Okay." So he got back. He's like, "What's up? Like, who's looking for me?" He said, "No one's looking for you. There's a ghost that's in the locker room. It's an old man that died, and his son's name was David. It's just a coincidence that your name's Dave. We probably should have told you or just forgot to mention it. But yeah, that'll happen. So just ignore it. They're not gonna hurt you." That was his life for a while. That's how I found out too that amazing amount of like old people die at these country clubs, in the lockers. Like they'll find them in their locker, like hunched over all the time because they get done with playing tennis or some activity where their heart rate's up, and then they would just have a heart attack by themselves in the locker room and like pass away. A lot of people have heart attacks and die in bathroom stalls or choke to death in bathroom stalls too for the same reason. They have this weird thing where like people that will choke, sometimes they like rush to the bathroom and don't communicate to anybody that they're choking, so then they die in a bathroom stall rather than getting help from those around them. Same thing with heart attacks. My kid's moving around. I got about one more set, I think, before he's awake. Well, if you ever want a bunch of ghost stories tied your ways, just let me know if you ever want some nightmares. I know quite a few fun ones, quite a few real ones. When I was at college, it's not a ghost story. It's about telling ghost stories, so it's not a ghost story. But I was at Bible college, and we're all out late one night telling scary stories, and one of the guys in the group was this ex-con. I think he may have definitely hurt a lot of people, may have killed someone. I don't remember 100%, but he'd been, just an ex-con and a very hard, tough looking guy. But as we're telling ghost stories, he just got a little a little bit more scared, like looking, and I thought he was playing. And so I was like, "Hey, man, do you need me to walk you back to your dorm tonight and make sure you get in your dorm safely?" And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, I do." And then I thought he was still kidding. I was like, "All right, buddy, I'll take care." He's like, "No, really, could you walk me back to my dorm?" I was like, "Sure, man, no problem." There's nothing funnier than walking a thuggish, tattoo covered ex gangbanger to his room because he's scared of ghost stories. Didn't see that one happen. All right, that's it. All right, well, I've got a skedaddle. Tidy whities, I hope you don't have any bad dreams. No nightmares. Sleep tight. It's still early though. You have plenty of time to do some fun things so you don't have nightmares. All right, thank you guys for coming by. Hope to see you guys later. God bless you. Have a good Monday.